Welcome back to Oakley Hour, and today we have day 6 of our chocolatier shop. This is what we did yesterday, so got a lot of this prepared, ready to go, and today is all about the framing. So the flowers are kind of my own version of their instructions because I didn't understand them. I'm sure I'm just a little bit shrink wrapped, but yeah. These ones you just curl out, by the way. Thought I'd done it, but maybe they went flatter. Okay, anyway, and I'm very happy with my little tulip. So we are ready now to start building the frame. So let me grab the roof pieces and we will make a start. Alright, so one thing I missed doing, by the way, was putting on these onto here. So let me quickly do that, and then I'm going to put a roof together and wait, a bit more. Put a roof together and then start on all that. So we'll be using that piece of paper. I think, by the way, I have looked through these instructions. I think the wires are actually hidden. So I think my fears might be unfounded and that they are hidden. So what you want for this is it just to be like so towards the back. And it's the slanting point in, not the straight. Oi, get out the glue. So after me doing this, didn't need it there anyway. I don't know, I'm going to have enough on here now. Probably not, I'll come and do that in a minute. So straight edge, that's this one. So don't need the glue at the front either, just like so. And then I can leave that to one side, and I won't need this then until we actually deal with the structure, which I mean, I'd like to say we might finish today, but I think there's quite a lot of things to put on there, so I don't know so much. We will see. We will see how we go. Take our time, try not to go over on time as well. So here we are. So that can be sitting there waiting for us to use. Just make sure it is equal with the back, which it wasn't quite on both sides, because this will attach to the house itself. It's not really a house, is it? A shop. So I think our wires are more hidden than I thought they were going to be. I thought we were going to be trailing around a box, but I don't think we are. So I think we're okay. Alright, so I'm going to put that to one side to dry, and we will get on and do this. So I had it all nicely lined up so you could see all the different pieces. This is all to do with the roof. And we have a light, which isn't clear on the picture what we are doing with it, by the way. So you can see that there's different thicknesses. Just be aware of all the different ones, because it will make a difference to how we put this together. Right, I will be right back. I've got my stuff here. Going to feed the dogs and then I am with you. Okay, I put them in part number order, so they go in like so, with this on the top here. So I'm going to do it with wood glue, because I'm in a position to leave this for a while. And we're also going to be looking to put light in as well onto this part. So this will go on when pretty much most things are inside the shop. So it's kind of a bit of a strange position to be in. I like doing it first. So just make sure that we are as square as possible. Like so. And then you can do the same with the others, but I'm going to build them on top of here rather than do it that way. So basically you're going to layer it so it have 3 layers on it, but I want to get the window. Can I do the window before that? I believe so, because it's all ties up that way. So this is our panel, and it looks, when you put the light on, like there's a hole in the middle of it, but I'm pretty sure there isn't. So these brown ones take me forever to peel, by the way. I don't think there's, and it always has it on both sides. Yes. So it's going to take me a while to peel this. And when it does, it's clear perspex. And what you really want to do is get it all up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it halfway so I can glue it in like so. Oops, go back on there. And it fits on it, which is why I don't want to do the rest of the parts until that's in, really. And then we know what we're doing. So I'm just going to peel all around the edges and leave the middle on, so bear with me. So I've got one side down, and that's what I'm going to do on both sides, and then we can put it in here. And why you want to do that is if any glue gets on the edge, it could stick your paper to it, whereas this, leaving a little bit, at least keeps it from too many fingerprints or glue or whatever else is coming on. Okay, so you want to avoid using any super glue for this. It will make your glass, or can, I won't say will, definite, make it smoky. Now I don't use B7000 very often, but for this occasion that's what I'm going to use. See, that's poking up. And then we can push our frame into it. So I'm just dabbing the ends with just a tiny bit, hopefully. Just trying to make sure it doesn't get too stringy for me. Ooh, quite a strong smell, this stuff. Oop, that went on the glass. Plastic. It's not glass. It's going all the way along the edge. And onto the last one. And hopefully it's not going to be too bad. I know you don't see me use B7000 very often. So then slip it into your frame like so, and it should slip straight in. And you've got your plastic, you can, or your paper here, you can use to get it in position, and then we can make sure that our frame is all good. And that can be left. So let me put this to one side. I've got quite a few little jars of things that I hope to get to today, but I'm not guaranteeing that. So what I want to do is get another piece of plastic. So I'm going to come back to these pieces of wood when this is totally dry, and I won't still take the cover off for a little bit. But what I want to do to get sitting as well is the paper pieces that we're going to be putting on the walls, because those take time. I will want to cut them out. So let's make a start on that. So I won't be doing that, but I do need to do this piece of wood, which has the small one on top of the big one. I'm going to do that with wood glue. And then I can leave this one to sit. I'll put that next to the frame there. Definitely need to clean my wood glue pot. You can see this. And just line that up. This will be having wallpaper on, but unfortunately you have to do it with it upright, which, well, we'll see. We'll see what I do on that. I might be able to do something else. Then we have this piece, which is not going to be all the way. So let's get my big scissors for this. So you want it that the window piece is, you're going to cut out your window piece. So you're going to want to hold this to a light source. This piece you won't be able to cut down, which is why I'm doing it now. Oh, you're not going to cut down that side, you can cut down the other side. Okay, so beacon for this. So you're only going halfway. The other piece that we've just wood glued is going to go down here. It's going to go on here. And that is what is going to hide the music box if you have one, but also the electrics. So pop this on, don't press it down until you're happy, because you want to make sure that it's nicely lined up for adding to it all. Okay, happy with that. Till I think it moved on me. I think we're okay actually. Now because I've got glue coming out the side, go careful when you're doing this. You could do it just with like a card or something. I'm going to pop that to one side and then cut that in later. I'm going to pop this one on, which goes on this way. Again, just going to trim it in. So I'm going to make sure that the bottom is trimmed here. And I'm going to do both sides at the bottom, get them trimmed in, so that we make sure that it is lying correctly. And then a little bit off the top to make sure we've got the top part right. And again, I'll hold it up to the light before I press it down. I snipped a bit of the paper off then. That's going to go on here like so. So let's get beacon on here as well. And you want to make sure that you get all your corners and things. And we're going to do a flooring piece. Not corners, edges. I knew what I meant. I'm going to try and line it up before I look to the window, which I have a window right by me, which is why quite often it's when it's so bright it really is bright. We're pretty much there. Need to go over this way just a tad. And we could do with going okay. And when you're happy, down to sit. If you do it this way, you might choose to cut it all out first, and then this big piece is for the where your music box can go, but also covering this piece. So I'm going to see if that's something I could do before it goes up. I might be able to do some of it and work out how far along to go. It's going to go that way for starters, so I'd imagine it's going to go up to about here, but I can work that out and see if I can get that on. So then onto our big floor, our main floor, and I'm just going to cut the corners on here off, and I tend to do opposite corners when I can get hold of them with the scissors. And back here. And this does have a hole on it. Let me see if it... Was there a hole? I thought there was a hole in the paper, but I don't think there is, you know. And it's just a pure flat fit, and I don't think it matters which way is which. Just checking this. No. So make sure again you get your edges. They're the most important, although I don't quite need it to be like that. The part with that standing up wall, I just think it's a bit risky to do it, so I'm probably just going to leave it, and we just do it upright. I don't like doing it that way. It does mean I will have to cut it out beforehand, but it's okay because I've got a bit better with my scissors than I used to be. So sometimes I even slip with the crafting knife. Let's make sure there's enough in there. And then this can all sit and wait for it all to dry properly. Let me check that. Make sure I'm happy before you press it down, because once you press it down it's a lot harder to fix. I have beacon all over me, I can feel it on my hands. And then just hold it down tight. Throw down in every direction. And we will let all this sit. So we have a sign to put on here, this one by the way. So we'll be putting that on, and we have these as well to go on this wall. So, no they won't. This is the floor for starters. I'm talking rubbish. Alright, I'll be back in a bit when this all had a chance to sit and take. Alright, see you in a bit. Okay, so we are back with this piece. So before that, I also noticed that our little bags that we did, they have two handles. I had put them in, all of them. It would have been much easier to have done when they were flat, but it is done. But they do have two handles, so something to bear in mind. Right, next, let's get some wood glue. We are now tearing this ceiling, just making it higher. So you want to go around the inside edge. Oops. I'm sure it'll be fine. But inside edge with your glue, whatever glue you're using. Mine's wood glue. As you know, that's more my go-to, and this is totally set by the way. And you are going to use the next level up, and we do this twice. So you want to align it to the inside, but this time the next one is going to go on the outside of it. So the smaller one goes on the outside, whereas before we had it going on the inside. Like so. And the last one goes on here. I could get the edges too of these where they join, but I don't think it's that necessary. So just try and line that up best you can. And then we're going to give that a few minutes, and we're going to put the final layer on around it. So I was going to give this a few minutes to take for me putting another layer on it and disturbing it. Also, when we come to do the walls, one of them I am going to be putting in the window and the window box, the bigger set barrel of flowers, trough. We are also making a window, so I will get that window. Well, no, we're making a light. So I will get this one ready. This is going to go on here on the inside, and this took me forever to understand these instructions. I thought it was showing that it went through it, and I'm like, well, does it have a hole then? No, it doesn't do that. It just runs alongside it. It's just not a very good photograph. But these, I mean, generally the instructions have been really good until the flower, funny enough. So we want our lamp on first, so it's pointing it downwards, and get that through the hole back here. She says, come on. Okay, maybe do one at a time, because none of them have those. Sometimes you get models with the plastic still attached right on the ends, which makes it a little bit easier to thread it through things like this. That said, I think, where did I put them? Had these for doing the bags. I think it's a very small hole, so I'm going to try and make it a little bit bigger to be able to put these in, because it does feel rather small. Can't put one in now. Oh, eyes. Alright, you get the idea. Let me do this, and then I'll get the other one on as well and show you which direction they need to go in. And I've put my wire in the glue. So let me get that done. I need to literally hold it up to my face. My eyes are obviously a bit, well, that one went in fine. It's the other one. Give it another go, otherwise I'm going to have to wheel and deal and try to really, really encourage it. I think it's because this wire keeps bending over. Let me try it that way. There we go. I had to fold the wire at the end over on itself in order to encourage it to... These are very long wires, aren't they? I feel much better about the fact that I've discovered that the wires are more hidden than I first thought. And then you are going to put this on, which is going to class as the rose of the flower. So you want it that way up. You do. Oh, according to them you don't. You want it this way. So we can have even a smaller area to go on the ceiling. You'd have thought it would be that way up, wouldn't you? Really? But it's not. So again, just expanding the hole a little bit. Because you're putting two wires through, it's actually a bit tricky. Okay then. In you go, fella, stop running away from me. And then this one. I should put the white one in first because that's my more tricky one. Nope, we got there. Okay, thread it all the way down, and then we're going to glue that, so as much as it wants to be jumping all over the glue, it's going to have that done now anyway. And then we will turn this over and fit this. So let's get some of that glue on here. I'm just going to use tacky. It's right here anyway from doing the bags. I thought it was a bit weird that it only had one handle, but I went with it and then realised there's two. Okay, so this needs to stay in place, and I'm going to use a... Oh, I put them all away. I was good, I put all the clips away because I have them floating around all over the place. I'm going to leave this like this, leave those two together so they can be doing their thing. So while they're doing that, I want to get situated this window. Did I bring it with me? Oh, I don't believe I did. Bear with me, let me go grab it. Yes, I did. I just put it somewhere else. So it's going to be this one. So you've done half paper. On the back here is your window. So we're going to cut that out. And you don't have to do it this way. I mean, I'm putting my window in while it's flat rather than upright, which is how they want you to do it. Just because I found it easier, funny enough. And then I'm also going to put my flower box on because I think that'd be easier to do it lying down rather than upright. That's okay. Alright, so we've just got the window to cut out. Let's see if we can avoid the wood here. As I try and go straight up it. Just missed a tiny bit there. Almost done. Okay, again, try not to pull the paper because it can damage it. And that's where what we have. There's a little tear, and I felt a tear when I was putting it into, but it will be hidden. So what we're going to do is put a window in, and you want it with the cards on the inside. This is the inside, so you want it like so, and then the window box will go on that other side. So I am guessing I can do it this way, by the way. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out together if it's a disaster or not, or if it works. If it works, I suggest you do it this way, because I think it'd be easier than doing things like this upright when you've got a wall in place, which is probably a bit on the wobbly side. I'm just going to put it like this so the cards are on the inside. It's in the way of me. Probably what's easier is to do it that way though. Need a good squeeze to go in there. There we go. Oh, I see what it caught on. It caught on the plastic. So there must be an overhang on my plastic. There is. I should have spotted that before I put these cards on. It's not feeling quite so well right now. Okay, let's try that again. Always put it on the wrong way now. There we go, that fits better. Yeah, make sure your plastic is even with the outside of it. I thought I'd done that, to be honest. To be fair, I thought I'd done it, but I obviously hadn't. And I'm going to use a little bit of tacky to put our flower box here, and this is all before installing. And like I say, they don't say to do it this way, and it may not work, but I have a strange flower box that I couldn't work out how I'm meant to do these flowers. That would be something like so. Then this can take lying down rather than trying to mess with it standing up. Okay, that fits quite well. It's up to you whether you want it even with the back or the front, by the way. Right, go pop that over there. This should now have had long enough that we can put the next layer on, which is going to go, how are they doing now? Overhangs the longer way, so it's like the first way. Can't draw a straight line to save my life. We had yellow lines done around my way recently and they weren't very straight either. There's no longer any parking on the road, which is ridiculous. It's private land for starters, so I think they've gone crazy. And then this one, I'm going to put a little bit on the ends here because these are much thinner. So this one go like this. And then before we put this to the frame, I will take off this plastic cover and the protection. And again, put some on the end. this end too. And find a, not broken, but a weakened one of these to hold that down some. Okay. Throw the stick all over the show. And you could clamp all this too if you wanted. It's in the way. Okay, and lastly, I'll go down here. And we'll let this dry and then we'll put that light on. And I'll probably clamp this actually, clamp it all together carefully so it doesn't all thin, because I can see this edge is slightly raised too. We want to make sure that they are all even and get some clamps on. It's just this side too. You know, the one closest to me, the one that you'd think would be different. Well, I don't know, it's a bit that way too. Alright, let me get that clamped and I will be back in a mo. Alright, while that is having a moment, we will attach, so take this piece which would have your music box on if you have a music box, and this is going to be where the power goes, handy, and you want to attach your window, no, I don't need to turn the page, and you want to make sure that this one is on top of that one, like so. Just checking this, yes. So again, going to use wood glue for this and then balance it and that have enough time then for it to take. You could use, actually I've got squares clamps, so I probably will use that on there. I will just have to go and grab them. So this is what you want, and you want it to be nice and square. Let me go grab my squares. Okay. And see if I can work this first time. I always have a problem with my dimensions when I do anything like this. Use the end of the desk. You will see something in a second. I'm going the wrong way. Hold on. Okay, you can have it back. So what I'm doing is the other one button up against it, so it's going to come in from here, so just roughly here. Don't tighten it too much because we're going to need to manoeuvre. And then this one would have had it the wrong side anyway, wouldn't I? Because I'd glued that side. Don't need that side glued. It's upside down. Am I just going crazy? Oh, don't know no more. Yes, this is at the top, so this goes upside down. So I'm glad we're giving those flowers a few minutes. And then just tighten them up together. And then I'll put one on the top as well to keep it square. But you don't have to use square things. I mean, I never used to have them, so just make sure that they're lined up, and then I'm going to put one on the top as well for good measure. God, it's gone totally crazy there. And this is where we're going to be putting that other piece of paper, which I can't do much about, so I will cut it out. Be undoing it, not doing it up. Never done that before. We can leave that to do its thing. I'm going to leave it up that way because the flowers, even though they've had enough time, I don't need to be chancing that one. And that's just something done for a bit later. We don't need it yet. What we do need is our roof back. So I'm going to give that a few more minutes just to make sure that wood glue has taken. Actually, what we can do before that is make another wall. So this whole wall is made by little bits. So I will be wanting this to sit there for a while. So this is going to be our top. Then we have this one here, underneath like so. This one after we put this in, around here, and then this one to line it all up at the bottom. Get my coffee cup out of the way so I don't knock it over, and then we can work on this part while this is drying as well, so we can get quite a few bits waiting on drying. And again, if you're using like super glue and things, obviously it's going to be a lot quicker for yourself. So I'm going to have this one. Obviously this is where, I should never say obviously, but it looks like this is where the door's going to go in. And we will be needing that other piece of plastic that we put the stencil on, template on. This goes in here. And it should, hopefully, all line up quite well. We will find out in a moment because I haven't used any squaring elements. Can't imagine this being that strong either. We are going to be putting another piece in it to make it stronger though, this pink one here. So I will probably put that in straight away, rather than doing all the bits that they want you to beforehand, because it will help support and make sure it's square. This one goes in the bottom, like so. Okay, then this needs some decorations on, as you can see. Will go in, but all the decorations sit on top of this piece, so it should fit squarely in here, and this will help us square it all up. And then we give it a little bit to dry and we should be alright. So it needed a bit of manoeuvrability there. Oh, not that much. Oops. Very much at the angle, isn't it, really? Let's get this even. So that's square. So then all we have to do is work on the roof. I've seen people do things like this, they always look so super easy. Okay, and that, my friends, is one squared off unit, and it does look quite square. So if you don't have it square, you won't be able to put that piece in flat like it is. And on the back of here will go your plastic, which is going to cover this section and the shop front. We have some decorations to go on here. I probably could do it. I might push in my luck. I think it'll be okay. I think it can only strengthen it, really. And this is just going to be a pink piece down here, like so. another one at the top. And like I say, they kind of get you to do this part with it off, with the pink pieces, with it not in position, but I think I'm fine with it. Doing it this way, I'd rather do it this way and make sure that I'm totally square. And then when we turn it over, we'll put the plastic piece on and we're going to give it some lace curtains too. And then, this is just pure decoration. I'm going to pop that on there and manoeuvre them in a second. Same. And because it's wood glue, it will take a moment to dry. And then we can bring our roof back and fit this light. So I use my ruler, but I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to. Maybe. Not really. I moved it anyway. You could get a ruler out and measure it all and make sure it's all perfecto. Okay, all right, let me give all this a moment because I'm going to have to move this paper because I'm not going to be moving this off of here. But I want to make sure it's not sticking. Always risky, I don't like it. Anyway, we bring our roof back. All right, so let's get these off. Okay, I'll peel this. And I guess I'll do the other one. Very satisfying when it gets to that stage and it's easy to get off right away. Okay, so for our light, what it wants you to do is put it in the middle, roughly. If you can, don't know what you are. It really wants to be attached there, whatever it is. Put your light on and have the wire run towards one of the upper edges, like so. I am going to use B7000, it dries clear. Oh, I really do need to clean that. And see if we can get this to work. But I'm not going to seal the wire at this stage. I'm not 100% sure, even though I know they want it going to the back. It's kind of going to the back and then over. Is that roughly in the middle, give or take? Something like so. So I'm going to hold this because, yeah, there's not an awful lot of choice as I move it. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, so we will go back to this wall here. We should have enough time to at least somewhat get situated. And what we're going to do next is put on that blank piece of wood panel. But before we do that, I am going to paper part of it. So I'll put that to one side, that looks fine. So I've got this piece of paper, the stripes go at the bottom, and this is what's going to go into the side. So what we want to do is get this paper like so, right to the edge, and then fold it around. So I'm going to start with one side, and then fold it afterwards. So I've got my light balancing basically in between some clips and some weights and stuff. Not too heavy weights though, because it'll break it. Of course I got more tissue on it than not with me trying to do this. There you go. So I'll do this and then I can score it to give it a good bend once it's in. Ooh, where's that gone? A little pokey stick. Pretty sure this worked quite well last time I used it like that. Okay, let me get it on. I think when it gets older this just gets like air bubbles in the bottle. But that's kind of what it was like. You see it's coming out very globby. Make sure that we go all the way to that edge. We'll give this a very good press to get it on there. So again, make sure that you are the right way up and that you have it definitely right to this edge. And it's as straight as you can be. Lost my straightener, there it is. And then what I'm going to do is run down here with my stick so we can get a nice smooth edge going over. And we'll get this piece on and let's be ready to go onto the wall. And we can do the last piece. I will also crease it once I've put this piece on. I'll also crease it again so it can go over the wall and bend nicely onto it. I don't like doing wallpaper upside down. I thought about the awning too, by the way. The awning is goes on that front piece we were doing, the one with the made just out of the pieces of wood, and I thought about putting that on first. Now I'm just thinking to myself, everything's gonna get in the way. Okay, and then this is going to go outwards, but we will score it. Ready to rock and roll. And it will go like this. One more score, I think. Okay. Then we'll do this like so, and then we'll paper it afterwards. Just get our wood glue. For our edges. So what I'll probably do, even though it's easier in some ways to decorate it before you put it all together, I'll probably get it together so it can be sitting for quite a few hours. Guess I'll put that wood glue lid on after the event. So before you do this, by the way, make sure you put your music box in if you've got one. There's a couple of decorative pieces we will definitely do to this, by the way, before we put it all together. Oops. I think we clamp this. Yeah, let me get this wallpaper down. I'm going to clamp that. Okay. Maybe I should do it the other way, clamp it and then get the wallpaper down. But no, I've started. mine's on a slight angle. My wallpaper. Oops. Glue on there too. Slightly off on the top edge there, but not terrible. Right, let me get this clamped. Alright, let's see. It's going rusty. I haven't even had them that long, and it's not even like they're in a wet place. Still not 100%, guys. Oh, push my window out. Guess that's the reason you don't do the window first. This has a couple of decorative pieces on before we put it together, which we might be able to do actually. And there's a gap at the top here but not at the bottom, so it could be that this isn't 100% square. I think we're okay. Alright. Okay, so the things to put on here are this, and these. So this goes on the top here, so we get that one down. That's a wood glue job. And then underneath, and they do tell you to do this, by the way. At this, well, once it goes on the floor, and it's upright. However, let's get it while it's sitting down. And then the other two I'll go and cut to get those in. It says desserts. Okay. I think that's roughly square. As I say, this is just slightly out here. I can see it's a slight gap. But we know this is square, so the only thing that can't be square is that piece, which I didn't square off. Right, cutting these out. Okay, so we need this green one down here, the heart one down here, and this one going across here. Is it higher up? Right to the top, so not where I put it, like so. Okay, first things first. Just going to have a little bit over the edge. It's up to you where you put them exactly. Maybe a little higher up. I can't remember what goes underneath. But something will, I'm sure. And then this one up here and right to the ceiling. Handmade chocolates. And very crooked handmade chocolates. Something like so. Okay. Alright, so that is on. Yeah, it does go right to the top. Not necessarily literally at the top, you could put it down a few millimeters, but that will do that. Then we will go and I will put some more wood glue on here because it's definitely on the move. My fault. Probably why you're meant to do it once it's up. But if that's the only tiny bit is the window, it's not too bad. Okay, right, we'll go and get this lace going on the other walls. What we might do is end up just with all the walls today and then ready to rock and roll, or maybe we can go and put this piece on the top. Ooh, do I want to do that before having the others ready? I don't think I do. So we need to cut this one out, and we're going to stick the other two walls together, in which case I'm going to square those off, and then tomorrow we'll put the lace on and we'll get all of these walls in and done. So this one we need to go in our little square. It's got a bit of paper stuck to it. It's needing a bit more because it's going through the glue. A lot more, evidently. Okay. Yeah, if your glue seeps over, then it's just a bit harder to cut in. It's not the be all and end all, but just harder. Okay. And other than the flooring, this is actually our last piece to cut in. I don't think we've got anything else. Oh, I can remember anyway. And then tomorrow we can put this all on the floor and it'll all have time to take. And we can put things in it rather than rush to enclose it, which is what they want you to do before putting stuff in. Don't like that idea. And it would still mean that the walls would be wet enough when they're in place to be able to adjust them if we need to. Of course, one should never need to, right? Right. Don't go into it. Not the first time, eh? Even though I prefer to do it this way, I do seem to cut into the wood more than probably without doing it this way. Needs trimming. Okay, let me get this trimmed up and we will get it with the other wall. Alright, so that's that wall. I've got my plastic stuff ready. Get it off your paper, turn it over, and then you want to put your plastic just on the edges. This piece only just fits, by the way. Something like so. We will use B7000 because it's too stringy. Need something not stringy for this. So let's dab each corner of the room. Enough on this side, you know, in the middle, on this end. Like I said, it's quite a tight fit, this, so. And then we get these two pieces of wall put together, and then what we need is we need some lace, but we could do that tomorrow before we put it in the house. And they do actually tell you to do that. There you go, shock horror. Okay. So it's this part that's a tricky one, this little window. So it only just fits. And again, try not to push it too hard on it because you don't want it to. It literally just fits. Alright, and that's what we have for here. So then what we're going to do is attach the other wall to it. Which is going to be on the pink side and the thin edge, and it's going to go on the inside of this one like so. So let's get our clumps out together. No, that's not what I was meant to say. Let's get the clumps out again. So you want it like so. carefully. Get some wood glue on there. This is the inside, this is the inside. And then these are going to have the lace going around the top of them, which we'll do tomorrow when it's had a chance to set. They're going to be doing it while I'm putting clamps on. Ooh, I don't know how much this is going to work actually. Maybe just. Yeah. So it goes something like so. Tighten these up. Would have been very crooked. And then put this one on. It's a bit tricky because the only bit it's got to grab is the this part. My paper by the sound of it. Oh, didn't need to do that. Maybe I should have waited for the wool to dry. Yeah, I don't like how this is going. Give me a mo. Okay, so I think this piece needs longer to set, to be honest with you. So I'm going to leave it overnight. And this is what we've done. So tomorrow we will put these two together and clamp them, and we can leave them for quite a while. And what we'll do is we'll get this piece, this big piece, on the frame, on the base, and start putting stuff in it, which will make it much more accessible. Our light is done, and that's quite sturdy. I'm not going to push it too hard just in case, but I think this was just too soon, so I've had to go back and re-glue everything. So too soon for it, but I think this looks really cool here too. So just make sure that, because that one is still wet, that nothing is going to stick to it, because that's kind of important. So this could have done, I think this was out of square, could have done with going back a tiny bit more and a bit more here, but I think we'll be fine. Anyway, do please write any comments. You know I love receiving them. I will respond to you. Please do like and subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate every single one of you. And the biggest thing is take care of yourselves. That is the most important thing. Take care. Bye.